This is Comic Picks by the Glick.
Hey, and I'm your host, Jason Glick.
Good afternoon, evening, good morning, whatever. Jason Glick, how are you doing?
I'm doing just fine, John. And yourself?
Oh, not half bad. Not half bad. We just got through, the dog days of August, and here we are. So hey, while there's lots of podcasts out there and other things that are kind of like, news is a little dried up on things. We always have something to talk about, don't we?
Yes, depends on how hard I had to have to drag it out of my mind and my library in order to talk about.
And what do you have for us tonight, sir?
Okay, well, this tonight I've got something that I've been reading for many years, but I've just been holding off on because I wanted to. I was because I'm a hardcore trade waiter most of the time, and I was just convinced that if I waited long enough, then they'd release the three issues that comprise the third volume of this series in one hardcover. I'm talking, of course, of the three issues that comprise the third volume of Alan Moore and Kevin O'Neill's League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. Now, these that was an interesting choice for them to do it this way, considering the previous series had been done as 6-issue miniseries through DC Wildstorm, and but that had it's like those days are long gone, and now Moore and O'Neill are publishing their series through their own imprint Knockabout in conjunction with Top Shelf. Now, this is getting ahead of myself, but let's go back to what the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen is. Back in the days that we call the early aughts, or is it the late '90s, late '90s, early '90s? Yeah, late '90s. Alan Moore signed a deal with Jim Lee's Wildstorm imprint to do a whole bunch of comics. Some of them and all of them were generally really good. We got Top 10, which was his superheroes as TV cop show. That was series out of it, which is a ton of fun and highly recommended for anyone who's a fan of Moore or just cop show genre, I guess. We got Promethea, which was his exploration of magic and superheroes in the modern world. Tom Strong, which is his efforts to update the pulp hero archetype that he eventually handed over to lots of other creators such as Brian Vaughan and Ed Brubaker. And he also did lots of other series such as Gray Shirt and Terra Incognita. But the one series that everyone really loved, and the one was on the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, which had a ingenious premise, which was what if all of the all the famous heroes from 19th century literature teamed up to basically form their own, not necessarily like a superhero group, but just basically a team in order to combat threats larger than life. So in the series, basically the series had Mina Murray, formerly known as Mina Harker, as in Jonathan Harker of Dracula fame, leading a group that consisted of British adventurer Alan Quatermain, Captain Nemo from Jules Verne's novels, H.G. Wells' The Invisible Man, and Robert Louis Stevenson's Henry Jekyll, who also has his own. He also has to contend with the personality of Edward Hyde, as well, who turns out to be the series' breakout character, as things go on. Now, the series starts out with being recruiting Quatermain, who's become an opium addict and just fallen on hard times as age has not been kind to him. But then things shift to her. Recruiting Jekyll and Hyde, and then getting her orders from Britain's the intelligence agents who works with Britain, Campion Bond. And yes, the Bond surname is intentional here, as he basically tasks her with recovering the anti-gravity material Carverite from a Chinese from a Chinese gangster living in the Limehouse section of England. This Chinese gangster being none other than Fu Manchu, and it's like it's like and the teen grows through their growing pains. I mean, Mina is very strong willed and not willing to brook any insubordination, but she also has to deal with the fact that a lot of these other characters just like view her her the fact that she's a woman is kind of as just kind of a hey, it's like hey, she's a woman. Why should we even bother listening to her? But and Quartermain has to deal with the fact that he's been out of the game for years, trying to kick a drug habit as well. And Nemo, well, he's it's like, well, he's just in this because he wants one more adventure, even though he's he's like he really does not play well with others. And also, Henry Jekyll is just like he realizes he's made a very bad mistake with the whole potion that unleashed his alternate persona. Hyde is just kind of like, hey, I'm just in this just to see how many people I can kill along the way. And then you got the Invisible Man, who he's just kind of like well, they catch the Invisible Man when he's pretending to be the Holy Spirit and making many visitations amongst women, amongst these girls in it's like in an all girls boarding school to infuse them with with his version of the Holy Spirit. So he's he's a pervert. He's also kind of a psychopath as well, in the sense that he'll tend to kill anyone just because he thinks he can get away with it, 'cause no one can see what he's doing. And Moore does a really good job of not only fleshing out their characters but making the whole team feel incredibly plausible as well. I mean, it's like more than just a clever high concept. The first volume of the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen really works as a cohesive story, just as a group of British intelligence officers trying to stop a perceived threat, but then finding out that the bigger threat comes from within. It's a well done story first and collection of literary references second, and I think that's what made it work what really made it work, and why everyone really caught on to it when it came out. It's like, as some people noted, yeah, it's all those people you read about in high school, and we're just kind of like thoroughly unimpressed with. But Moore just does a fantastic job of giving them life beyond their original stories. And Kevin O'Neill, his art is just really just so amazingly intricate, and even though his characters just do have this kind of like odd stylized look to them, I think it works for the for the era that this is taking place in, and all of the weirdness that their adventures entail. Others may have not have gotten to it, but I think that O'Neill's work is fantastic. And the first volume, absolutely worth your money, as is the second. And to be honest, the second volume really follows in the illustrates a concept that I feel is really key when you're trying to build a franchise out of anything, and that is, if you're going to want to make a franchise from anything, you need to make sure the second thing is even better than the first. See also, Star Wars: The Empire Strikes Back, Spider-Man 2, X-Men United, and these are all movies and everything. But also, I guess you also point to Assassin's Creed 2 as well. So there you go. Just if you want to make a franchise that's going to be a multi-million-dollar effort, make sure the second volume is better than the first, because that's what the second volume of the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen is. It is the best out of all the series that I'll be talking about here, and because it has it starts off in really weird and esoteric fashion with a guy taking a magic carpet ride on Mars, and just and then you find out that he's a descendant of is he a descendant or is he just Lemuel Gulliver turned immortal, meeting up with John Carter of Edgar Rice Burroughs' Mars novels as they take on the like the Martians. It's like that have been handling them on Mars, and so and then but then as they're successful, then we find out the Martians have basically been working to evacuate themselves to Earth, and that leads them to take on Mina's group of extraordinary gentlemen, and things just get really bad and really vicious from there as the Martians prove themselves more than a match for anything that Victorian England is able to throw at them, and also they're aided and abetted by the treachery of one of the extraordinary gentlemen themselves. But but the series itself does a great job of upping the stakes, upping the danger, throwing lots of new interesting twists to the characters themselves. I mean, Edward Hyde. I mean, yeah, he was a great he was like a great rampaging id persona in the first volume, but here he learns a certain amount of restraint in here not that he realizes it's not that he realizes the value of civilization, but as he develops a relationship with Mina, he realizes that hey, I have that as he puts it to her, it's like I can't kill you because if I did, I would kill the only person in the world who did not hate me, and and it's through that he's able to conform in his own special and unique way to civilization, and also just but also to visit his own brand of vengeance upon on the one person who does Mina wrong. It's like in the course of the volume, and also the more like he also throws in more interesting references. I mean, yes, I talked about Edgar Rice Burroughs' connection, but the Martians are straight out of H.G. Wells' The War of the Worlds, and it turns out that their main salvation is going to lie in not just anyone's hands, but those of Dr. Moreau of the famous island. And because it turns out that he doesn't just do hybrids of humans and animals, he does hybrids of other things as well, which are also quite key to the defeat of the Martians as well. And just the way that all of this makes perfect sense. The way Moore puts it together, and O'Neill's work is just even more detailed and fantastic. That this stands as the high point of the series. I mean, really, of all the series of all the instances of the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen that I'm talking about here, the first two volumes are the ones that everyone should have in their library. No questions. You can't argue with this. They are that good. Because the thing is, after that, things get a little weird because probably realizing that hey, I've really hit on something really good here. What can I do to take this series to the next level? Well, apparently Moore thinks about, okay, the way I look at it, or the way I see it from these volumes, Moore apparently has decided that the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen isn't just a playground for like the heroes of 19th century literature to come together. It's a playground for the heroes and villains of all fiction to come together. And we first see the stirrings of that in the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen Black Dossier, which was the final volume of the series to be produced through the Moore's deal with Wildstorm in DC, and it involves and it basically sets the template for the series as like its past, present, and future. Because it's not only does it fill in some of the gaps from the series history, it's just telling us how Mina Murray managed to convince Nemo to join their group, but also how she and Alan Quatermain apparently became immortal, because the versions of them we see here are quite different from what we what we see here. But that's not all, because we also see versions of James Bond, um, it's like Emma Peel from the Avengers, Harry Lime, Orson Welles' immortal villain from The Third Man, and it's like, and the racist caricature Gollywog as well. I mean the thing is, here's the thing. Here's the thing that I have an issue with is that if you paid attention in high school and even college then you're going to get pretty much all the references that are being talked about in the first two volumes of League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. Then you start moving on to the Black Dossier, and then you're going to want to start hitting up Jess Nevin's utterly indispensable annotations for this series. Just go online, just Google Jess Nevin's League of Extraordinary Gentlemen annotations online, and you'll find them, because they are almost really necessary to understanding all the stuff that goes on in the Black Dossier. Of course, the other thing working against the Black Dossier is that it's not technically a proper story in the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. It basically concerns Mina and Alan's efforts to get the titular document out of the hands of British intelligence, and it's like, and into the hands of Prospero. Yes, Prospero of Shakespearean fame. It's like, but also between that, in between their adventures, it also has lots of extended text. It's like text interludes, illustrated text with O'Neill providing the illustrations as always, and I'm just further illustrating the world as well. I mean, we get a hidden, like a lost folio of a Shakespearean play. We've got the life of Virginia Woolf's immortal gender swapping Orlando. It's like done in the story of a British boy's own story. The new adventures of Fanny Hill, and all sorts of all sorts of just really weird. It's like weird and esoteric stuff. I mean, it's like, and all these also serve to break up the main narrative as things go on. So it's kind of like you're getting involved in the comics, and then there's this giant block of text and all. I mean, more. I probably view this as kind of like a source book for the series, and yeah, it works on that terms. But like I said, there's a lot of stuff you're going to have to sweat through that. It does kind of feel like Moore is leading you around by the nose for a good portion of it, kind of like what he did in From Hell. Ultimately, though, in From Hell, that turned out to be worthwhile, and that does turn out to be worth it to a certain extent, especially once you get to Volume 3, Century. Now, Century was a very ambitious project because instead of doing like a standard 6-issue series like they did with the first two volumes, Moore and O'Neill did 3 extra-sized issues that took place in three different time periods: 1910, 1969, and 2009. Now, the thing is, overall, I did like this third volume, but at the same time, I'm glad I had to read this twice in order to really, for all of its stuff to sink in, because I mean, and also just to really illustrate to you just like how far astray we've gone since the first volume. The main villain in this series is Oliver Hutto. Now I realize people who listen to this are going, Oliver who? Well, it turns out that Oliver Hutto is the main character of is basically a thinly veiled caricature of noted magician Aleister Crowley, and so you've got kind of like League versus Aleister Crowley, and it's in his plan to institute give birth to the Antichrist. It's like and usher in a new age. Now, the way the three stories here works is that the first volume does continue the feel of the first two. Let's see, the first two volumes, and since that we're about 10 years out from the event, or about 12 years out from the events of the of volume 2, and Mina it's still trying to hold on to the idea of a group of people of extraordinary individuals trying to combat threats larger than themselves. Problem is that time has moved on, and the concept doesn't like and as new threats rise, like the concept doesn't quite hold up as well as it used to. So even if you got people like Orlando, who in his male and female forms, he's an extraordinary fighter, but he's also like a phenomenal lech and irredeemably shallow in a lot of other respects. They've also got the master thief AJ Raffles and clairvoyant Thomas Karnacki. They wind up actually more contributing to Haddo's scheme more than anything else. And even though it's clever to observe all the little references, once I had gone online and puzzled them out, it's then you get to the second volume, which takes the series into the 60s, and you got and then you have them, but then you have them mixing with analogs for like Mick Jagger. Then and you also got Michael Caine's character Carter from the film Get Carter, and other another weirdness. Then you realize that this what Moore is going for here is that he's trying to create a a world that is based on that where all fiction can coexist together, and on one hand, it's like you could just say, yeah, it's a sophisticated way of saying fan fiction, but the execution though is still far more sophisticated than that, in the sense that even though there's all this weirdness going on, Moore still knows how to tell a coherent story that still makes sense regardless of things. I mean, to be honest, because I know that everything in the series is supposed to have a reference in the real world, that's really maddening to me. Since I know, okay, what is this referring to? Like, who is this Turner, and why should I? And what is his analog to the Purple Orchestra and whatnot? It's like I know that it's a reference, but not knowing what it is kind of maddening. If you had no idea about what this was, then you may actually be able to enjoy this series, enjoy Volume 3 a lot more successfully than I did, because it works pretty well as a nice cross-generational struggle against the forces of darkness. And also, it's worth noting how and also in the final volume, 2010, when Moore starts working in even more modern references from 30 Rock, 24, The West Wing, like all sorts of stuff, and Harry Potter and Mary Poppins. I mean, it's wow. Let's just say that the audacity of Moore's final conflict is certainly certainly very amusing to behold. It also reveals that also reading these volumes, you get the feeling that Moore really doesn't like A, James Bond, and B, Harry Potter, because wow, Bond, yeah, I mean Bond has his issues, but at the same time, for him to come into the kicking that he gets in Black Dossier and Century, especially the 2010 version, it's like wow. Especially when you find out the original Jimmy Bond is still being kept alive at 90, even though he's got syphilis and all these other diseases. One has to wonder if Moore is just if he just specifically has it in for Sean Connery, who starred in the reputedly awful film version of the original volume of the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. But anyway, it's like I said, even though it's there's all these references and that Volume 3 is built on, it's like you can be like me, you can drive yourself nuts trying to figure out everything, or you can just accept it and it's like try and enjoy the story on its own terms, which all told is actually pretty good. I mean, I had to read it twice in order to really get it, but hey, it's but the fact that it actually did turn out to be worthwhile is is really welcome as opposed to it being not. Anyway, to wrap things up here, since um, let's see, Century recently hit hardcover as of Comic Con. Um, Before that, though, the most recent editions of the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen have focused on Janny Nemo, the daughter of the original Captain Nautilus, and her adventures in Heart of Ice and Roses of Berlin. Heart of Ice is the better of the two because it's actually a really creepy and trippy take on mythos of Lovecraft as Jenny decides, in order to find a way to just, separate her, better herself than her dad, she decides to go undertake the same trip her dad did many years ago up into the Antarctic, and to find out what went wrong there. Like because her dad showed up weeks later, raving and mad on the ice, and you're going to wonder what happened there. And what happens here is really goddamn creepy, and it also features lots of cameos and appearances from other famous literary characters, from Charles Foster Kane to Tom Swift, and of course, there's a lot a crate full of references to Lovecraft's mythos. And once we get to when you get to the that stuff, it's just unnerving in ways that most comics don't do to me. Then their most recent foray, which came out earlier this year in Roses of Berlin, this is them a bit. This is Moore and O'Neill just taking on German, German cinema and tropes of the 1940 of the 20th century and all. And because you've got basically you have basically a Nazi Germany ruled by the great dictator himself, Charlie Chaplin. Yes, because if you're familiar with Chaplin's seminal work, The Great Dictator, you've got that's the version of Hitler we've got here, Aldenoid Hinkel, and they do a good job of matching his body language and expressions to to the great tramps himself. And basically, the main story has Jenny and her husband, Broad Arrow Jack, going into staging a rescue attempt of their daughter into Hinkel's Germany, which turns out to be a metropolis. It's in the version of the film, of the film of the same name. I can't remember, was that Fritz Lang? Yeah, Fritz Lang's Metropolis. And and also lots of other famous cinema figures like Dr. Mabuse and Dr. Caligari, and it's like I said, it's a fairly, it works as a fairly straightforward adventure, even though it lacks the esoteric creepiness that made Heart of Ice really memorable. It's more straightforward, and it works pretty well. It works pretty well on its own terms. That even if it doesn't have quite the resonance of the previous volumes, still a good read. And overall, all of the volumes are are entertaining reads, but beyond the first two, everything after that just kind of depends on how much you're willing to either interact with all the references that make up this world of extraordinary gentlemen, and how much you're just willing to accept the stories on their own terms. They work, like I said, they work on their own terms, but at the same time, though, there's a lot of other stuff to to take in along with the story, the stories themselves, and at the same time, it can be frustrating just because if you're aware of what Moore is doing here, then you're just gonna be feeling what am I missing here? What am I not getting? So that's the main thing with these books. So, like I said, just to reiterate, volumes 1 and 2 recommended for everyone. Everything after that, um, just depends on how much you fell in love with those first two books that you're willing to see more of them follow you're willing to follow Moore and O'Neill as they take the series. It's like in some really really weird but still interesting, compelling directions. John, any particular thoughts on your own end from these?
Well, uh, just on your whole thing about Kim dumping on Bond essentially.
Yeah.
um, it's interesting because I don't know if he felt especially betrayed because Bond is a British. Well, let's face it. James Bond is a superhero. I mean, like he's not okay. Maybe he's more like Batman, okay, but where he's where he's a guy of normal means, but he has lots of cool gadgets, right? But maybe he felt especially betrayed by that, and that's why he picks on him. But if I'm not mistaken, Alan Moore doesn't like any of the adaptations of any of his stuff that are made into film. Is that not correct?
That's true, but the thing is, he's kind of justified since a lot of especially all the adaptations that have been done of his works haven't really been that good in the first place.
Yeah, I mean, well, and he gets the, and it's
He's famous for basically saying, "Oh, all the money that I would get, just give it to the artist instead."
yeah, yeah. So, yeah, it's interesting. So, and then another thing that you're saying is, with on Amazon, I swear to you, I'm not plugging Amazon. It's just where I buy shit. Um, they have the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen omnibus. That looks like the recent publication date was end of last year. For 1896, so that seems like a pretty good deal, and would at least include the first two volumes.
Uh, wow, it's like that's
And it's paperback, of course. There's a hardcover as well, but you're saying it's like, but there's other stories outside of that, that would encompass some of the extra characters that you see.
yeah, okay. This just judging from the page count,
Mhm.
I'm assuming that this is a compilation of volumes one and two.
Yeah, yeah, okay,
Yeah, okay. Look at just judging from the solicitation text that Amazon has. Yeah, this is a softcover edition of volumes one and two. So there you go.
there you go. Hey, if you're interested in it, like I said, I'm not plugging Amazon, but it's just a good place to get it from, fellas. So. And you know what you're going to talk about next time, sir.
No, it's like I'm actually drawing a blank right now.
That's all right.
I'll drag up something.
Yeah, I'm
It's
sure
like
you will. You usually do.
yeah, it's kind of like the requirements of this job here.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, we're signing off. This is Comic Picks by the Glick.
All right, everyone, take care. Bye.
All right.